Where do I start from? Let me start with my name. Okay, my name is Omotola Jumbo, and yeah. What else? Just and something fun. You will not live here. I'm a talker. I'm a writer. Those might not be exactly fun, but yes, I like to dance, and I can be very sarcastic as well. So maybe I will give you one. So one time I went on on a date, so to speak, with somebody, and then the person was like, forehead gang and everything, and I was like, oh yeah, it's for those with foresight. I'm not sure I ever recovered, but yeah. Okay. And so yeah, sometimes some of these things just come up. I don't know how I come up with it, but yeah, it just comes like out of the blues. Aww. So yeah, it's been 7 years married, and to be honest, even me, I'm still surprised because I'm like, a whole doctor a doctor kind of degree and in this journey, and then just looking back and just saying that, yeah, 7 years is actually, it feels short now, but at the beginning it seemed like, when would you ever reach this place and everything. But yeah, it's been quite a journey, and then a lot of learnings, a lot of very good surprises along the way, and yeah, that's why I'm also celebrating it.
Okay, great.
Expectations. I think that's let's start from the word expectations, because sometimes we feel like we have like the right expectations and everything, but your expectation is actually shaped by your level of knowledge and exposure most of the time. So I would say my expectation of marriage when I was a teenager or young adult was different before I actually agreed to marry. Do you get? So, and I remember one of the things I'm also thankful for is counseling. So I attended a church where counseling was very serious, and then yes, you have to actually write your expectations and your conviction. So I wrote for each topic your conviction and your expectation. I had like 2 pages each of of expectation. I can never forget. 2.12 font size, 1.5 line spacing, and all of that. And then the man I was going to marry was bringing up the paper. I mean, literally A4 paper. I typed it. So I sent out an email and I printed it. So when we were going for the counseling, so it was like, who is this crazy person? So yeah. But I remember the expectations were very, considering now, they're probably quite big, right? Because you never know what the whole picture will look like. I'm now in Germany, and I'm like, some of my expectations were even as detailed as having housemaid, house chores, house chores, what sex will look like, what date nights will look like, and all of that. So those were sort of like, but dynamics change. I'm not in Nigeria, so of course I don't have living maid here. But yeah, so expectation is usually dependent on your experience and your, maybe sometimes your limited knowledge. So far, did I expect it would be this easy? Maybe not, because now it's more easier than I envisioned then. So yeah. So let's talk about, before we talk about how we met, because sometimes it's very easy to talk about how we met and not talk about some of the things that led to it, right? So I mean, this is not my first relationship I've tried. So I have track record, so to speak. But one of the first things I would say is and I caught this really early with my first and major breakthrough relationship, which is relationship with God. Immediately I got myself into that space of, beyond every other relationship, my relationship with God was very important. Immediately I found it, because it wasn't like somebody, or I was coerced into it, or my family, I was from a proper Christian. No, I wasn't from that. So I found God by myself, and it had to be like the navigating relationship for every other relationship for me. So I realized that, from there I started to. I remember I gave my life to Christ in 2011, and I was in a relationship before then. But immediately, as you start to grow and all of that, I remember maybe like a few months down the line, and I was at the Bible study, and we're talking about the narrow path and all of those things. And it was a very strong conviction that there are some things that cannot follow you on the narrow path. You can only try to invite them, but it is narrow path for a reason. You can't carry some baggages, and that my relationship was one of it. So that was the first point of among several surrenders. So I had to leave that. And for that, I just knew that, it changed my walk with God, and it started to become like, we are in a relationship of sonship, worship, and envisioning like a proper ship. That every other ship that you have, every other relationship, friendship, and everything, if it does not fit into your sonship and worship with God, there's no point being in that ship. So that's how it started for me. And then, of course, I dated somebody afterwards, yes, after several years. But yeah, it was still a case of, would you choose between God and this person? And I'd come to that place where I was like, no, we are not choosing between a man that says he loves me with a God I know with experiential evidence that he loves me. So I'm just like, yeah, we got there. So there were a lot of times that I had to check within my spirit to say, where am I committing my emotions to? Why am I like this? If there's somebody around my corner, it's always very easy to be like, God, are you seeing what I'm seeing? Don't let me go and commit emotionally, and then it's not like the one. So yeah, that was like the background of my choice of relationship. Then I think for meeting my husband, before then as well, before I met him, I'd met other people who looked like it, who looked like he shared resemblance or some qualities. But again, if it didn't feel right, it was very strong that it wasn't this one. There will always be some tipping point, maybe behavior wise, ambition wise, submission to God wise, something like that. So I remember, yeah. But before then, again, you start to pray that God will adjust your desire so that you're in the right alignment. So I didn't have all this thought that can answer list again. List again. Do I find people attractive? Yes. Of course, my husband was attractive. The first time I saw him, I thought it was fine. It was a fine boy. He's still fine. So, but that was not the first thing I thought of. That was not the criteria. I remember that the Lord started to shape my desire in such a way that, you have to be the expected one for who you are expecting. And that is, if you know me, if you have ever spoken to me, I always say this a lot, not just about relationship, but whatever you are doing in life, career wise, if you are looking for the next level will not come and meet you at your current level. You have to actually grow into that person who is able to carry the weight of what you are praying for. So what God started to shape me to say, there are some things that cannot follow you if you are going to meet any of my sons. And that was sharp mouth. I was very mouthed, so to speak. So I remember that, one of the things the Lord said to me was, you can't say this to somebody because you have to actually see them on the pedestal, like put them on before you start as well. So I don't jokingly, if I jokingly insult you, like we're just gisting, like, something is a lie, it's because I don't see you that way. And some of those things, so I've had incidences like that, somebody probably was trying to get closer, and we already joked our way into friend zone. Then you now realize that, oh, I like this babe. Of course, it's already a no, because I never saw you in that light. So when I met him, we met. Now to answer the question carefully, when I met my husband, we met on in 2017. I think it was June or July. I'm not very sure, because that was the first year we had Hallelujah Challenge. as well. But I attend Redeem. I still attend Redeem till date. But yes, I've been attending Redeem for a while. So I was I worked in the church, or I served in the church as one of the workers. But we had this particular midweek service, so I go for midweek service, and then yeah, it was that particular midweek service where we're celebrating newcomers in our church. And my church is sort of like young adults, people who are like young in their career entrepreneurship, so we're quite young, so to speak. I think you probably find like all these startups as well in my church. So we were celebrating and all of that, people in young career. So he came, and as a worker you have to make the newcomers feel welcome, so to speak. Like, okay, they'll just call them, they'll stand up. This was like, we actually had like a proper cocktail set up after church service, midweek service. So it was also like a networking opportunity for everyone. But yes, and then I had my friends, of course. I had spoken with them, but we're all taking turns to meet with other people. But at this point, I was tired of smiling and sheepishly meeting people. So somebody came to my table after my friend had left, and I was alone just sipping my drink. I was like, hello, my name is. That's how he introduced himself. And I was like, oh, nice to meet you. And then, what do you do? Of course, because we are trying to network. We're both in consulting then. And then, oh, I do brand. He does financial consulting with one of the big fours. So we just spoke, and I was like, I have seen you before. And I was like, where? How? Yeah, then it was like, oh, you have a very funny username on IG or something like that. I'm like, okay, please, can we move on? Can we move on, please? And I was, of course, not going to give him the what's it called, the whole privilege of, oh, my name is. Of course, I knew I had a quite a unique username on Instagram. I was using Ayoba Omotola then. So Ayoba underscore Omotola and all of that. So if you are not very familiar, you're like, who is this one calling herself Ayoba and stuff like that. Then so I did not tell him. I just moved on. Then luckily, he sent a message just to prove me wrong that he actually met me on Instagram. He sent a DM, and so I responded. No, did I? No, I did not. I just acknowledged the first one. I think he said something else, and I just blanked out. I forgot, or I typed the response, but I forgot to like hit the send button, so I just forgot. And then within that, I think I was in one entanglement like that. That the Lord was like, "No, this person not it." I'm like, "Yes, I knew, but can you help me just clear this mess out of your mess, because I don't want this person lurking around me for so long." And it was after that mess was cleared, I didn't see this guy in my church. Apparently, he comes only during the for midweek service, because his own church was on the mainland also. So yeah, that was how we met. And then maybe like a few weeks later, he traveled for work. I was just like, oh, let me just check. And I remembered I didn't send the message, so I sent the message. I was like, oh, sorry, I forgot to send this. Not like I'm rude or trying to form anything. And then I was like, oh, that's impressive. I didn't expect that you would respond. Anyway, so that's how we started to chat on Instagram to start with. Hmm. Okay. So, interesting question is first. I think it's even important to highlight at this time that we married the next year. So we met in 2017. We got married in 2018. So, but before then, after this discussion, we started to chat, and we sort of like saw a few friends in common. I think somebody from his own university, and so on and so forth. But we kept on chatting, and then one day, I remember I was going for what's it called? Was it pedicure or something with my mom and sister? And it was like, oh, where do you live? And everything. I'm like, oh, I stay at so and so, not far from the church. It was like, oh, I live just some few meters away from the church, like behind the church. That's why it comes during the week. So can you stop by? I was like, okay. And I actually did stop by. And then, oh, hello, nothing. It was We're just at the patio of our compound, so he didn't even come in. He was hello, we just said everything, and then just like no strings attached. But as he started to talk, I think it was when he was coming, he actually didn't ask for my number to say okay, just to get his way through to my estate and all of that. Then yeah, that's when he got my number, and then we started to talk. So we'll call, we'll chat, nothing serious until one day he did not waste time. He just asked for my genotype. I'm like, first. Hold up. Anybody, people don't just ask for genotype like that if they're not going somewhere. But yes, we've talked about even how we give our life to Christ and everything. And if you know me, I'm FBI in nature. He didn't tell me his age, but I went as far as checking his Facebook and everything because there's a way you can calculate these things now. When you check the time they finish secondary school, check the this thing, there's about. So I already knew some of those things, but it wasn't a big deal until when he asked about genotype. Then I started to talk about, rules. Before you go further, these are the rules. So don't even bother feeling bad when you now ask somebody else and they say no, because these are the rules. And one of my rules then was no kissing and all of those things, because now from clap, dance they start. And this is also what still selling back to my relationship with God. Have I done these errors before? Yes, but they were not taking me anywhere. So it was very definite that I wasn't going to deal with all of this again. So I said that, and he was like, sure. I mean, I've said this to other people who were like, that's the pink elephant in the room. But he didn't have an issue with it. I was like, okay, this is the first. And then there were other things that, such as being proved and submitted to leadership or mentors. And he was actually open to it. I'm like, okay, there's head on this person's shoulder is one of those things. And you also want to look at track record. So it's not enough for you to make suggestions and the person is like, okay. Do they have a mind of their own? And you also need to know yourself. I'm very, because some people say you're too forward, you're too opinionated and everything. So sometimes I actually see myself in that space that, I had my own criteria beyond looks. I don't want somebody with self-esteem issues or people who can make their own decision. Because when you come to that place, I'm to an extent opinionated. If I'm very convicted, it's very hard for you to change my mind. So I'm like, the hardest part of submission would not be that you want to submit. It would be that the person that you are submitting to is actually not good enough head for you. You can think better, you can do better than them, and then you struggle with this. So I was just like, no, let's check the track record of this person. And sometimes I know it's lame, but track record don't lie. You want to check their their financial track record, which is not probably the first. You check their spiritual track record. What have they done with God? How far have they come? I'm not necessarily saying you should marry a pastor because my husband is not a pastor. And then what are the things they've settled with God? And also, even as simple as the academic background, things can happen in people's life, but if the mistake is persistent, the person is the only constant thing, right? So those are some of the things that I was using as a criteria to say, let me check this person very well. And then by the time I checked, to the glory of God, this person is a first class student. He did not get it by chance. No, it's not those ones that they reach final year before they become first class. He had the track record for his whole 4 years. I'm like, no, that's consistency. So even if he has not done anything elsewhere, that is, then his career choice and everything didn't look like somebody that was, wasting time or playing around. And I felt like, even if not for anything, with my own energy and its own this thing, it was going to be a good combo. And those were things that supported my conviction about him. And most importantly, I was accountable. I was accountable to my friends. Immediately I started talking to this person, I'm like, please call me every week. Ask me how is this person doing? What's my conversation like? And if you see some of these things, is a check that is no good. And lucky, and I'm so blessed. I have one of the best friends anyone could ever ask for. She'd not even approve. You know how your friend will meet somebody and you're like, oh, chummy chummy talking. No, she's like, I'm going to be very plain so that I can decide for you when you are getting emotional. So that was how it was for me. And of course, this my friend is also a believer who prays with me and all of that. So when I told her that I think there's something going on here, these are the things I've checked, these are the things, and she was like, okay, let's see. And then so when he eventually asked me on a relationship, I was like, give me some time. I need to pray about it and so on and so forth. So I remember vividly 1st of September 2017. I told you I met him in June. His birthday is in August. So 1st of September 2017. I was at redemption camp with my friends when I felt the go ahead to be like, okay, yeah, let him know. So I just said, I'm at redemption camp. This is it. Let's give it a chance and let's see how it goes. And then, to the glory of God, we started. I think it was a case of value, right? So I would track back to, when I talked about, kissing and all of that. I've been in cases whereby, you say these things, but they're like, okay, yes, but they're trying to test if you're still standing. And I've seen those situations really in my life and all of that. But this person never tried. It was not even, we talk, we meet, he picks me up from maybe work or drops me back home. We could have sat in the car and anything can happen and all of that. It's probably dark when we get back, but it was never um a thing of discussion or highlight or something. So it was never insinuated, and I felt like, yeah, this person is not trying to test me or push the boundaries. Secondly, there were some things that my oversabi self put on the table, to be honest. And sometimes you'll be thinking maybe this thing is spiritual, sometimes not spiritual. Sometimes God needs you to use your common sense as well, right? And this is me just coming back from the places whereby experience is the best teacher, but it does not have to be your experience. And I've seen people who around me have gotten into marriages and they've not discussed some things and all of that. We've talked about finances, we've talked about sexual compatibility as well, even though we know that these things were not going to be tested. So it's not like, how some people say they need to test drive a car. We already know that this car cannot leave the manufacturer's place in the first instance. Let's not talk of test driving, you get. So but what were the things we needed to put in place to make sure that the journey is not toxic, and then we are not hiding under saint or believer this thing when you could have actually found out. And I remember just putting it out there. So please shout out to my husband when he's saying that let's go for potency test. And I know this is extreme for some people. It might turn your stomach, but excuse me. I did, and he agreed. I remember saying it, and one of my aunties was like, no, that's extreme. I don't think anybody will accept to that. He agreed. He followed me to the hospital. And then I think initially it was like my family hospital that we went to. Then we went to one reproductive hospital. That hospital is in Lekki. Just have forgotten that. Just when you enter Lekki phase 1 is on the right here. I can't remember the exact address. And then we got there. There was a lot of counseling and then questioning. Did we eventually get through to it? No, because the process was also not very supportive of our convictions and faith. But the fact that it was willing to sort of like gave me like, don't worry, this person is ready to weather the storm with you, whether or whether. And then I think the next step was him being open to examination. Again, I told you I'm very accountable, and I remember that one of the first persons that he met was not my direct mentor. It was like mentor to my best to my bestie, which is Pastor Nat. And I remember it was after night of worship. My church used to do this thing every November, night of worship, and Pastor Nat had come to minister. Before then, like I told you, that was the first year they were doing Hallelujah Challenge. So I've had meetings with Pastor Nat once in a while because my friend was under his tutelage as well. So when that was going to happen again, this is my best friend that was holding me accountable. So after they finished ministry, because she was singing as his backup then, and she just like, come with me to the green room and everything, bring Femi along and so on. That's how we introduced Femi to Pastor Nat, and then Pastor Nat just questioned him and everything. To other people, that's a lot. It takes a lot of courage to be under such scrutiny, and he accepted to go through that scrutiny. Another landmark. And then that was one of the other things. Of course, I feel like my family didn't have a lot to do in terms of scrutiny until later. I think when they started to think about proposal and everything was when Daddy, on the other hand, started to ask him and all of those things. Because sometimes you can be in the same house with people and you don't know them or the convictions they carry, but you are just like, this girl she can make decisions by herself and I will just support her, that kind of thing. So yeah, but when it came to marriage, my husband had to go through that scrutiny. The minister in charge was also one of the people that scrutinized him, because I was serving in the church. So there's a minister in charge I can never forget. It was out of the blues, just meeting him and just saying, call that young man. It was because it was after a Sunday service. Call that young man that you call your boyfriend. Now, why do you call him your boyfriend? Because if you say it's a boy, what are you doing with a boy? So yes, it was almost like, let us test whether it's a boyfriend or it's a man that has that kind of tendency. So I felt like there were lots of people who were looking out for me as well, and then he was also able to submit to those tutelage in that time. And those were some of the things that really sort of like said, okay, yes, I'm ready. I can follow you. Cultures, pillars, systems, structures. I think it all boils down to values and your faith level. If you remember earlier, I said that submission is not as hard as the quality of head that you're submitting to. And it brings me to the fact that we share same faith. We're not necessarily going to the same church. This one, let me be open. Yes, my husband went to a uni where he served in, Redeemed Fellowship and everything. So he had some of like Redeemed Christian Church values and background. So he was properly trained there and all of that. But at the time I met him, his main church was Covenant Christian Center. That was C3, now TCN, the Covenant Nation. And I've also been to Pastor Koju's church a couple of times, even as an undergraduate, right, where you would go for work there then and so on. So I believe it comes from that strong Christian upbringing. So I don't have to do a lot of fighting and gingering to say this is the way, this is my conviction. Again, I always say we're all part of Zion, but from different tribes. That's a line one of my mentors gave me as well as an undergraduate, when I was dealing with somebody that was asking me out, but the person didn't necessarily come from the same faith background as a Christian. So it was not hard for us to establish that these are the values, these are our convictions. We've all served as workers. We know what it means to, follow God one-on-one. So I didn't have to say the Lord say, and then he has to go and ask something else or a prophet and all of that. So that one was given. Again, in terms of even before we got into the whole marriage talks, sometimes he will come around to my house and then we'll just take a prayer walk and everything and so on. And I think I can remember vividly the first time I was a bitch. I was like, pardon my I was just like, I don't understand. I don't want somebody to be examining my tongue, whether it's sounding like rap or something. But eventually, if you're going to go far, you have to overcome those things and all of that. And my husband is so big on confession. Oh my god. I've been hearing it, but until I met him. I'm not kidding. I've never, in our 8 years of knowing each other, usually has in his own apartment a wall board. That's why you probably see boards in my house if you come. So we just moved one for this video in case there would always be, the goals, and then for those goals he will do confession. He can have as long as 2 pages of confession and all of those things. And it's also something that they imbibe in their church or in C3 or TCN till date. So yeah, it was one of those things. So he invited me to the church again one Sunday with his sister and everything, and it was very open from the beginning, get-go. So confession, praying together, and of course the values that we share. God comes first. And when it comes to faith, my husband goes, even me that I said I was serving in church and doing these things, some of the commitment he did in his private space was such a huge pillar. There are some things that my husband does yearly in his commitment to God. I'm just like, nobody knows that you do these things, but those were some of the things that really helped to say when it comes to God for our house. And then another thing, my husband does not drink. No, 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 no. He will not even give you, so you cannot meet it in his house, that kind of thing. So it's not a case of, okay, yeah, I don't drink, but I can give people. He doesn't. So that's also a level of self-preservation by conviction. So I knew that I won't have to do all of this struggle for errors and all of that. So those are some of the things. And openness was one thing that we embraced. Financial openness. There were times that my husband is like, invest your last couple and like, just give me your money because there will be emergency sometime. So now we've rubbed off on each other like flexibly. Me, I'm the spender. He's like conserve, but we met somewhere in the middle. So yeah, because I remember there was a time that he would, just in case, keep some money with me and all of that. And I'm like, this person can. And also gift giving is one of the things that has helped us. I'm also a generous person, so he is as well. I remember the first gift he bought for me was a Swatch gold wristwatch, and we started dating somebody in 1st of September. So Christmas is coming. Somebody bought a gift for me, and luckily I didn't wait till he got the gift for me because I'd already reached out to a designer to make a kaftan for him or something like that. So it was just like in sync. So it wasn't like somebody was left behind or somebody just thinking afterthought. So those were some of the things that helped. We're now in Germany, and I believe that, I think for me, it's also just being open to knowing that the earth is the Lord and His fullness thereof. It doesn't matter where you are, but you have a God who is your anchor. And I believe that this is not the first time I'm moving in my own life. Even before I met him, I've been moving. So and then I now met somebody, and I don't know why I never thought of that possibility at first when we started, that there would be a lot of movement. I only envisioned that maybe we'll have to travel for work and then short term, and then everybody will be back home to our base in Lagos. So I probably sort of like planned my future around staying in Lagos until we prayed for a job. He got the job, resumed 1st of January. 2 months into it, he was informed that his place of assignment is actually in Port Harcourt. And luckily, I'd had previous discussion with some of my mentors and everything, and they're like, marriage will require sacrifices, or any relationship at all, especially if it has to be progressive. So I thought, okay, so this is one of the sacrifice and everything, and so on. And mind you, just before this relocation happened was when I resigned from my own consulting job. So I was in between, like, looking for a job and getting into another space and trying to see what works. So now I was proposed to on the 28th of February, and then on the On the 1st of March, he has packed his bag. He's on relocation to Port Harcourt. I know it's another thing when somebody is like, I can say no and all of that. This relocation came with its package. Like, we know we are relocating you, so we are paying for it and we're going. About that time was when we were supposed to be looking for apartment for us to, if we are going to get married or anything. Now he has proposed, right? But now the company is even willing to pay for the apartment, but not where I want it and all of that. So we had to be open to doing these things, and again, faith in God. I'd moved before I met him, so it wasn't a big deal moving. It was just a case of, will you trust me again to do this? And that's how we started, and we prayed, and again we did a lot of decision making together, even to the apartment that I went to find in Port Harcourt. I'd never been to Port Harcourt before then, but we decided on the apartment together. Even the wedding planning, the whole process, what date and everything. So it wasn't like an outsider was imposing on us. We prayerfully did it together. And that is one of the things that has probably, I think, the most interesting part of my marriage is being able to make decisions with him. So that's not the longest. You just have to pick your battles, okay? And then while it might seem like Job did it, again, you always pray for progress in your marriage. You don't want to be stagnant and stuck or be afraid to take a leap of faith and all of that. But again, I know that some people are probably just like, I'm not sure I can do this. I'm not sure I can do all of those things. And I know that there's a case of trust in this thing, in all of this, that you don't know who the person is and everything. I believe that is why you actually have to commit it to God. Because if the person does not have a relationship with God in the first place, they are not accountable to God. How would they be accountable to you? Are you God? So I'd come to that place that I knew that yes, it was somebody that worked with God I wanted to do this with, and I was going to make sacrifice for that, knowing that God will back us up. So now to the question of, I think our first long distance was 2018, right? From March, and it was always coming and going. It was within Nigeria. The flight was not a big deal and stuff like that. So when we got married 1st of September, and then I moved to Port Harcourt. So let's say a 5 to 6 months period. But I still saw him like quite often. But the next longest was 2019. This time we're expecting our child, and again, God just promoted my husband. He got delegated to, Germany and all of that. And to be honest, it wasn't a thing that we planned, but it was God in His infinite mercy that was like, okay, let me bless my children and let's do this. And we had to decide. I was pregnant, expecting our first child, and I said, you know what? I've never read about Germany. But now that you are going there, I just realized that they don't speak the same language. There are a lot of things I will find difficult, and I don't want this to be a strain on our marriage. And in my first child, I've never had one before, but I've seen people have children. It's going to be very demanding. And it was too close to the time I was going to give birth when he left. So I was just like, no way. I'd rather stay back in the land I know, get all the help. It's okay. I'm not offended that you're not around. But you know what will offend me the most will be that when we are there, we're struggling, we don't know what to do, and I have expectations, you have expectations, and we cannot manage things. So it's better that we stay back. So we agreed. Again, this still boils down to making decisions together. He agreed. I came up with the suggestion and he agreed. So yeah, and we knew that it was going to be a sacrifice on both sides. He won't be there when I'm having the child, and then maybe for the first few months as well, I won't be there with him and so on. So that was it. But the whole plan of this sacrifice, it was timed in our own decision making. We're just like 3 months, 3 to maximum 4 months. Then I'll join him in Germany. But guess what? COVID happened. Germany bureaucratic process happened. And then I was in Nigeria the whole of 2020. And then luckily, he came for my birthday in 2020. I guess he could not hold it. He had not seen his child He has not seen me, and then he just came briefly, and that was such a sacrifice on his part because he came for just 3 days. For just 3 days, he came. He arrived on my birthday. I think he left. Yes, he left 2 days after. So, and then I didn't see him again till December 2020 when COVID had lifted a bit, and then we're still just waiting on my family reunion visa and all of those things. But in all of this, that was like the height of our long distance.
Wow.
During the period of long distance, again, it's what you do before that you keep doing, right? The measure is also just a bit different. In during this period, yes, we still prayed together, we talked and everything, but the dynamics was also a bit different because now I have a child that I have to take care of, and then he's here trying to navigate the whole work system. Maybe language was not really a big deal because he works in English, but again, he's alone and he's trying to keep himself company, also forge ahead with career, and also he was doing his masters, as he was doing his MBA at that time. So again, my husband gave him a lot to reading. He, I knew his routine so much; it was like the back of my hand. So even when COVID happened, it gave him a lot more time to, bury himself in books. There was restriction anyway, so nobody was going anywhere. So he had a lot more time to, go through his work, study, write exams, and all of those things. And then, yeah, we were very consistent on, okay, what are the things that would be beneficial for us at these different times. And I think that was much more encouraging on both parts when he needed to read, and then we just keep ourselves posted on what was happening. Yes, we prayed together, and we also did a lot of evaluations of, okay, what could we have done better, what couldn't. But we talked a lot. We were quite open. If I'm facing one struggle, I'll tell him. If there were things, yes, I'll tell him, and he will share as well. And of course, when you're a man abroad, it's very easy to see temptation. So again, say sin or temptation thrives in secrecy. My husband was able to tell me, oh, I went for this meeting or this networking, I met also and so, and then this person came into my DM to say this and everything. It was quite transparent because again, whatever you open, the enemy does not have the chance to water it. So those are some of the things that kept us really close. Whew. I think journey to Germany or family reunion it took a toll on us a bit financially. I see my husband is very generous with his family. I mean, I feel like all of the financial acumen that he has, when it comes to family, forget. It's like, no, my family comes first. And I remember because there were some different demands from the embassy that, okay, yes, it's not on blue card, something, then you have to do German and all of that. My husband literally paid for some of these high expenses, because why am I paying Goethe online class about 700 euros in that time in Nigeria? I'm just like, but he paid it. But just like anything to say that you are not limited or constrained. And for me, those were like quite encouraging moments for me. And I remember even when I needed to write the exam, and then there was no possibility of doing it in Nigeria, he literally called the Goethe institution in Dubai and said, and it was like making an inquiry to say, if you can't do it in Nigeria, maybe you can go and do it in Dubai. If you cannot do it in Dubai, what's the other alternative? Then we found out that we could do it in Ghana. And he paid all of those expenses and all of those things. So it was quite encouraging for me, because left to me, if he was not pushing like that, there's no way I would have just switched, settled my son in Kita in daycare in Nigeria, and just go back to work and start living as if no, it was not a big deal. But he went extra mile to do that. And not only did he go extra mile, because sometimes you're like, God will favor me. But if you don't put in the work, what's the favor going to rest on? And I saw that because of all of this measure he put in place, there were people who now started to advocate for him within his company to be like, this guy has been on it for a long time and everything, that you have to allow him get his family here. And I remember that there were some connections that had to connect, even till date. I don't think in history of that company those connections has come to pass, because things just worked for us. And then I think it was in a matter of few days, when those connections connected, they released my visa, and then I had to just, pack. We're still dealing with COVID at this time. And just coming, I'm like, please forget every other thing in Nigeria. Just pack whatever you can pack, make it very light so that you can come. The other things we'll look for how we'll sort it, and he didn't mind how much it was going to cost. In short, I remember that we had booked the flight earlier. Something happened with Lufthansa, but by the time I got to the airport, they said no, it was not valid. This man paid. You know what it means to be at the airport and somebody will buy your ticket at that time? I was like, okay now. And so sometimes, even when by the time we then got here, of course, there was just of paperwork and everything, and it was just, even if he didn't know what to do, he would seek counsel, ask questions, and was willing to just make us comfortable. And yeah, that was for me a turning point, that this man, for us, he will go anywhere. Then, so even by the time we're now settling in, he has not been with a child in all his life. Now I need support. I don't have all the domestic help or even like community like I do in Nigeria. So I'm just sometimes always like, hey, you're not helping me, you're not doing this again. Find mentors or find people you can open up your struggles with. I have a best friend, but she was not married then. But I had another mentor I can never forget. And I met this particular mentor through my husband, because it was one that introduced me to her. She's a marriage counselor, but she also checked up on me quite a number of times. So I called and I was like, this is my struggle. I feel like he's not very supportive with childcare and everything. And she was like, no. After everything he has gone through, you think that he would know what to do and won't want to do it. He doesn't know. So you have to come to that place where, you help him learn and see how he can help you, because he doesn't know how to help you and everything. So we have to come to that place whereby, I'm always like, okay, yes, now you can bath for him. Now you can. And I also had to learn surrender, because sometimes you can be very good at something that you can't receive help from others. So before, I'm that kind of person. If I actually tell me wash the cup, if it's not looking like the way I would have washed it, I would rather not ask you to help me. But now I'm just like, the Lord was like, no, you don't have to do that. I remember just fussing about doing a lot of domestic stuff and not progressing in my career. Again, before we moved, my husband was the one who suggested that, he already has his MBA now. I have to also go. Then he said I should register for my master's, and he started paying for it. So yeah, that was encouraging as well, because by that time I'm not like, oh, now I have a child, I'm abroad, we don't have help, I won't be able to read and everything. And sometimes I will cry and all of those things, and it can be very emotional moment. And then I remember, again, have a relationship with God, because so that when you are crying, in between your tears, you can see. Remember, is it Agar or is it Agar or Agar? Sarah's maid. Why she was sent away, she was crying and everything, and the Lord was like, no. And then that was when her eye opened to see possibility, or the well, so to speak. So even while I was crying, I was still going back to Andrew, and the Lord was like, you're a woman for a reason. If you decide to have another child right now, you will make room for that child. So make room for this, okay? Then that was when I now started to put structure in my life, and then also tell my husband how he can help me. I had like closing hour. I'm not joking. Closing hour, so 8:30. If you have not eaten, it's not my business. If the son has not slept, it's not my business, because that's the time for you and your daddy to put yourself to sleep. And my husband took it graciously. So even if they are crying and screaming on their lungs, I'm already locked in the living room and they are doing their thing. Eventually, they came around it one way or the other and they started to put themselves to sleep over and over again. So that was one burden away from me, because by that time I could read, I could pray, I could spend time with me as well. So that was like the first step into growth for us, to say, okay, yes, irrespective of what's happening, we'll find a way around it. Okay, individual goals and family goals. Hmm. So I always, or I try to look at it like, because we also have a marriage mentor, like couple that are mentors. So if you don't know them, shout out to, we call them KO and TKO. So Pastor Kola Oyenenyi, if you don't know him, you can check him out, and his wife, TKO Eitokwe Kola Oyenenyi, and they are very, very amazing people. So we've had the opportunity to be in their midst. In short, he was the chairman for our wedding. So I remember one thing he said at our wedding reception, that build a home before you build a house, and that's like build the future that you want, where you are happy to come back to every time. And that's one of the things that stood for me since that time. So, and we've seen these people, make sacrifices as well to do this. I remember vividly that I think it was during COVID, KO went to Harvard and his wife was in Nigeria, managing things and all of that. So it's not far-fetched. If you are going to go on a journey, God will actually put your forerunners for you so that you can see. And I pray that everyone finds their forerunner anyways. So for us, that was one of those people that also shaped our perspective in saying you can pursue your goal, you can expand your capacity, you can do more. It will stretch you at the time, but look at it like a business venture. You want to have a vision of how you are going, how does it profit the family and all of those things. So there are some things that we have to discuss. Or you want to explore this opportunity. What is the sacrifice that we take on your part, on my part? Is it worth it? So a lot of time for women, I feel like we get so emotional, we don't negotiate. I had to learn it as well. And I remember there was a time I wanted to do a business. I was like, oh, my husband will give me this money and everything. And I was like, I'm not. So I went out to go and pitch this business. And so one of the persons on the call was like, the person, my husband's friend, this one of his closest friends. I was like, I will call my friend. Why is he not buying this idea? And for me, that was like a blow, because if my husband not, but he had his own reservations as well. Like, okay, yeah, we'll take from the family first to do this thing, but what are the chances that it will work? Are you in a place mentally where you can make it scale and all of those things? So you have to get to that point to see that, it's not mean, but let's be realistic, or let's be visionary about these things. Is it going to work? Is it going to be beneficial to our family? And so when we are talking about pursuing individual goals, we're also looking at what are the things that we require from our family. In the big picture of our family that we have, is this thing moving us closer to it or not? So one of the things that we probably have for our family is to be, of course, wealthy, so that our children can leverage on that, and then we can make some certain decisions in life for ourselves and for our children. So when I think about being financially independent, I'm not saying so that I can be like, I don't need my husband again. No, it's because one will chase 1,000, two will chase 10,000. Imagine if we put those finances together and we buy some things, or we invest in these things. So those are the kind of things that really, really helps us, pursue things, to say this is going to be an advantage point. And I'll give you an example. So when I came, of course, I struggled with finding job, but I was just like, at least I'm a communications person. Let's go and learn language to start with, because it's going to help our family in the long run. All the money we are paying for relocation agents, translator, and all of those things, and they are messy. So I got to that place where I'm like, no, I can't be at anybody's mercy at this point. So we channeled our funds to me going to language school. and then I went for that. And immediately I got that one. Guess what? I did my B1 under a year. I think it was, yes, about 7 months. My B1. Immediately I finished that B1. That was when my husband was able to get his own. Because when I came back with that knowledge, I gingered him and I taught him. And some people know me as a language teacher right now, but my husband was the first student ever that I really was like, oh yeah. And then he passed his exam. And from there, he also encouraged me to go further while I was still looking for the job. And guess what? It has been very beneficial to our family right now. It's a skill I have, but it's serving all of us. First of all, I know that people talk about the differences in background a lot, but even though you have differences in background, can you look at the common grounds that you have to work with? Let your common ground be stronger than the differences in your background, which is for me, of course, God being centered. And I always say this thing, people say threefold cord cannot be broken, depending on how you're looking at it. If it's the two of you first before God, you go break. No doubt. So I feel like the third cord that we talk about is, first of all, before even the two of you come together, you and God already have something going on. The person and God already have something going on, right? God is omnipotent, omnipresent. By the time you come back, is a strong third cord. It's stronger than the two of you. When the person of God in you and in me comes together, is a strong force. So that is why it will not be broken. And I believe that is one of the things that has helped us this far. That, there are some things that you would, in my own understanding, without God or any conviction, you are right, I'm right, and I can fight it to the end. And the Lord is like, the vision is for an appointed time. Do you understand? And then you get to that place where you're like, okay, so I should keep quiet. And I'm like, yeah, keep quiet. Keep quiet. You see how it will play out and that kind of thing. So let your common ground be stronger than your differences. Always, always, always. If you come to that place, it will be very easy for you to navigate your differences, because again, that is what you are pursuing. That is one. Then two, I think it still tells about the differences, because now we've talked about common ground. Differences. I come from a very large family. I'm a Lagos girl, do things, do business. I'm very free, to be honest. And then sometimes where I come from, or some of the privileges I had, is not necessarily like you have to ask people for something. Because let's take for instance, my first iPhone was not necessarily because I wanted an iPhone. It was given to me. So I did not ask. I was not long-throating. So I sort of like enjoy, not asking. If I need something, I could maybe find a way around working for it. I mean, I also like to do business and make my own money. So yeah. So it wasn't very strict. I didn't come up from a very strict place where, your movement and everything has to be monitored and you have to be accountable and all of that. But over time, I knew that accountability was one of those things, and it was one of those things for my husband as well. Like, hey, when we moved to Port Harcourt, that was our bone of contention, because I would have left the house before and I'd be like, hello, where are you? Hello, where are you? With the insecurity incidents in Nigeria, even back then, I'd be like, oh, I went to this. Oh my God. So I cannot even say, I'm like, but it's not a big deal. Am I not an adult? And everything. So there was a lot of contention in that space where I'm like, really? Why should I be telling you everywhere I'm moving to and everything? But it felt really, for him, it felt really, really responsible for me. Especially now that I'm in a city that I'm not very familiar with. So those were some of our fights, or our disagreement points, not necessarily fights. And then I remember that because I'm also like very independent, I don't know how to ask people for money. So this is money is our money. it was never like a norm to me, right? I come from a place where even the matriarch that I know would have paid the money up front before they're like, ah, I could have actually asked my husband for the money, that kind of thing. So it didn't come very easily to me that way. And I thought my husband thought it was pride. So I didn't, even when I needed it. And those were also one of the things that we struggled with when I moved to Germany and I didn't have a job and everything. It's like, hey, every time I'm calculating how much is this thing, if I'm going to buy something from Amazon and I'm going to use my Nigerian card, and like this Nigerian money has almost finished. I don't have source of income, and that made me cry a lot. And I felt very little then. Even though he didn't say it that way, but I felt really little that I cannot contribute to the house. You know, that's how I grew up. That's what I saw my matriarchs doing. You'd have bought everything in the house, everybody will eat and lavish and everything before you're like, "Ah." So somebody used to leave money for soup. It wasn't. So those were some of the things that had to that we have to come back to say these are our differences. Can we have a communication about it? Can we talk about it? Because it took me a long time. I'm telling you, I'm not talking about 1 year, 2 years. It probably took 3 or 4 years into our marriage before I could break free from that. Do I ask them? Maybe. I still don't necessarily find it easy to ask, but he's more generous because again, if you don't ask him, doesn't. It feels like you don't need anything, right? But now it's almost like, ah. And I feel like we should do this thing. I was like, okay, you want it, and then it can sort of like take the cue from there. But the fact that all this nagging and the asking people, I beg, it's not my thing. So then that brings us to communication. I know that they say this thing, but communication comes off differently for different people. My husband is not a talker, but now he's now talking. Hey, glory. Glory. It's like, it's not like we talk, but sometimes it's not just on the depth or the level of, again, sometimes I can be mystical in my discussion. So I can think far and wide. I've calculated, connected the dots, and then it's just like, how did you arrive here? I don't know, but then I have to come to that place where I now make everything clear. Oh, these are the factors I considered and all of those things. And then decide to communicate more, especially with getting help. With getting help, communication helped me a lot because I would have been like, you should have done this, you should know this, why should I be the only one taking care of the child and everything? But that communication helped me negotiate better because now it's paying for school fees. I'm like, oh, there's an investment, but if you want this investment to yield, you have to support me with this child. We have to do this, we have to do that, we have to put structure in the house and everything. So it wasn't a case of, you did not wash plate, you did not bath for our son. No, it was not all those whining. We moved past it. And I feel like that was one of like the turning point for us, that we're able to like say, don't whine, don't cry, don't be emotional, let us be logical. This is the profit and loss of this family if we don't do this. If we don't do this. And then it helped us a lot. And then it also helped us see who needed to make one sacrifice at one point or the other. We didn't necessarily make all the sacrifice at the same time, right? While you might be sacrificing financially, I was probably sacrificing, in terms of showing up domestic and everything. And I was telling somebody, first 2 years of my son being in the kita or something, I was the most popular parent. So you could have actually just thought that I was a single parent at one point. But no, the dynamics were different because I had a more structure of showing up then and all of that. But now, last time I went, they were even doubting if I was his mother because they've not seen me in a school in a while. The only person they've seen is his father. So again, you come to that place of understanding that after your communication, being clear in your communication, the sacrifice it requires for your home to move on to progression, you know that it's not every time that people are bringing the same amount of sacrifice, but know that at different points the required sacrifice will be made by each party. And then that's it. Is there any other thing? Grow together. grow together. Yes, it might be. I told you he did his own MBA in 2020, right? Because that time I afforded him. But just towards the end, I was like, no, I know you wanted to do your master's as well, so why not pursue it? I'm so glad that I was not just laid back and be like, oh, life is happening to me. My husband is doing, no. I feel like it's even more proud that yes, my wife has all of this, and every time he always reminds me that I want you to be independent. I met you independent, so I don't want you to now be like a shadow of yourself in all of this. So grow. We talk about empowerment. We talk about courses. I remember when I started doing coaching, and my husband paid for my first coaching. And then when I was like, I'm not sure I can pay for this thing, I just stylishly asked him, please, that my birthday gift that you want to give me, please just give me as money because I know I want to use it for coaching. So I collected the money and then I used it for coaching, and he saw the improvement. That the next time I was going to say, this thing, in short, I think he overheard the coach speaking. Hey, I just said, don't worry, I'll pay for the next second. So yes, you have to be very, very intentional about each other's growth, and I also do the same for him as well. If there are opportunities, if there are things that I feel like, oh, you can do this and all that. Like I said, my husband is not a talker, but I don't know how he believes that I can coach him into public speaking. So he started to come to me like, babe, analyze how did I do here and everything. And I thought that was really, really powerful to say that it does not consider me as a lesser, contributor to our family. It thinks that I'm very, what's it called, resourceful as well.
Awesome. So, final question. What advice would you give to newlyweds or singles preparing for marriage?
Hey, advice to follow God. To be honest, I remember that I think it was last year I said I don't necessarily feel qualified to share, but sometimes there's too much. Like my friend would say, Jumoke said, there's already too much bad PR about marriages that it's okay to allow your own light shine and show that it's working. So first, all of these things I've said is also advice. So I pray that you're able to discern which one is your own. But I would say that God at the center, and always analyze your own self. It's very easy for you to see what's not working in your spouse. Very, very easy. Hey, go on the internet. In short, if you have not been watching Indian movie or this Korean movie and everything, your reality is far from it. I don't do so much of those. So let's be honest, maybe that's why it's easier for me. But again, flip it and see what were the reasons why you chose this person in the first place. And sometimes I always say, no, I don't always say it, but I believe that women marry based on conviction of a possibility with this person. I don't believe that you agree to just marry that man for now. Right? There are some things you've seen with him that you're like, this is a possibility of a future that I can grow with. And then you also have to put in the work. I always talk about, hailing my husband. Hey, please don't get me started. If we stay here, if I hail my husband for you, even you, even yourself, you want to come and copy my notes or replicate the same thing, because sometimes you carry a vision of your home and your husband that at the moment they don't look like it. But you have to come to that place of saying, this is what I saw and this is the possibility. What are the things I need to do to make sure that this person becomes that? Are you changing them? No. But you've seen the potential in them and you can encourage them. You can pull out resources to say, yes, this is the man I know he is and everything. There are some things my husband will not necessarily do but I know that is part of his potential. I would take him to the next level, and I would prayerfully hail him there. I would encourage him. I would, paint the picture of what the future looks like for him, sell it to him. And you have to come to that place. My husband does the same for me. we're talking about business idea. I was like, ah, babe, this is the one. I will invest in this one. Don't say anything. Of course, with that ginger, I will put in the work. So yes, the same thing. Encourage. Don't focus on what is not working. Focus on what is working and what he has the capacity to make work a lot of time. A lot of time. There are some things he will do freely that you know that if this guy really turns it around, is a cash cow, you will sell it. Oh, you will sell it. So I keep telling my husband, don't focus on what is not working. Focus on what is working. And by scriptures, I pray that the Lord will help you see it. And I pray that your heart is healed of any offense, so that you can actually see. If you're offended, you will not see. So yeah, that's my advice. Okay, they say I should say a closing line. A closing line, first of all. My closing line is like shout out. So let me shout out to my husband. My husband, the laughing to my Deborah. Come on. The Proverbs says one man to matches one woman. A guy is always at the gate with the elders. So of course I will hail him. And then also that's my first shout out to my husband for making things happen for me. I can be all that I want to be or express myself because it's also like a very good support for me. My first support anyway. So if I say, today, good, I need to go and travel with the girls, my body is itching me, I need a long time. I know some people are like, so you leave your husband. I'm like, yeah. I not leave him. I just took a break to be a better wife. And he allows it. So yeah, I need to really, really applaud my husband for that. Then secondly, I think closing word for anyone who's watching, who's going to be blessed by this. I pray that the Lord will help you choose right if you have not yet chosen. I pray that the veil will be removed. And sometimes the veil is not evil, the veil is probably just cultural semantics that's not allowing you, see the right thing. So if you're in marriage and then maybe culture is what is, restraining you and all of that, that the Lord will help you see beyond those blind spots. And then I pray that, your marriage will be heaven on earth. It will be a defining factor for you to become all that God has called you to be. You will not lose your inheritance as a woman. While you are pursuing marriage, you will not lose yourself, and the man will also always be proud of you. Scripture says that about Proverbs says one mother, husband's heart trust in her. So I pray that will be the experience of husbands as well, that they can sit with their wife and say, yeah, this is my strategic partner. I love that word a lot because I see it like business, that you become strategic partners to one another and you forge ahead. Amen.
Yeah.
Okay, so after all this, Yoruba will say atotono. After all of this narration and everything, I remain Omotola Jumbo. I'm glad I could share this with you, and I hope it's helpful for you. So stick around. If there's any question, leave it. If there's any comments, leave it. Encouragement is also welcome. Thank you.